welcome back to another episode of Women Gone Wild podcast, a space where rebellious, authentic, expressive, free-spirited women who don't fit into a box are celebrated and encouraged to keep popping her shit. I'm your host, Zae, and whether this is your first time here or your 9th time here, welcome. I'm glad you fuck with me. I fuck with you too. So to get into this episode, I want to talk about the Venus retrograde. It just seems like Venus retrograde is really doing its thug thizzle out here because everybody is breaking up. It's crazy. And it's for the best. It's for the best. More than likely, whatever relationship, if you did break up during this time, the relationship that you were in was absolutely holding you back in like a huge way, right? And it's crazy because the wrong connection can absolutely block your money, your opportunities, your blessings, your happiness, everything. And so with this breakup, there's no need to be sad or, of course it's natural to feel sad after a breakup, but don't spend too much time sulking because it's time to return to you and really dig into what is going to make you feel more fulfilled in this life. Okay, so I'm rooting for you. And speaking of breakups, I'm gonna put y'all on some free game. Okay, don't date insecure men. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't date an insecure. As a powerful woman who is self-actualized and hasn't let men shame her out of her feminine essence in all of its entirety, not just the parts that benefit him, don't do it. Okay? Unless you are in the business of tap dancing and pleasers and doing backflips and somersaults just to make him feel validated and affirmed as a man. Okay? You know, you could be out with your friends and having a good old time, and then all of a sudden this nigga call your phone talking about, are you fucking other people? Who are you with? What are you doing? Get the fuck off my phone. Like, get off my phone. And, you know, it just doesn't take all that. Don't date an insecure man unless you enjoy watching him be unnecessarily combative with other men and masculine presenting folk in an attempt to prove his masculinity. Okay, like it's gonna embarrass the fuck out of you, and it's just gonna be like a constant spectacle all the time. Very much a turn off. Okay, he's gonna be like wielding his dick around trying to prove that he's the manliest man, you know, in comparison to others, and it's not cute. You don't need that in your life, sweetheart. Now, the biggest reason why you shouldn't date an insecure man is you will feel limited, suppressed, and siphoned energetically. And you'll also be made, like, you'll feel compelled to dim your own light or shrink yourself in order to show up how he needs you to show up, which is below him, right? Because in order for a man to feel dominant or powerful, they usually feel like they need someone who's less than them by their side. And if you know for a fact, if you know that you're not less than nobody, then that whole like dynamic is not gonna work for you. So run to the nearest exit expeditiously. Yeah. So. Also, insecure men are very manipulative and controlling and possessive. And I think that is just dangerous overall. But also, it's like this nigga will try to like shame you and guilt trip you over your boundaries and your standards just so he can feel like he's in control. And you don't need that in your life. Okay. Don't do it. And just, I wish I had more signs. Like, I wish I knew the psychology of insecure men, but I really think it starts with like just not meeting the expectations of like what a man is supposed to be in society and being very uncomfortable with that. Like, for example, a man who's like short or doesn't have a lot of money or he's not as good looking, like, I wouldn't say like, I don't want to say don't date these type of men because that sounds like kind of mean. And it doesn't sound good, but you have to understand that certain traits just people are just insecure about certain traits that they possess, and there's nothing they can really do about it, but also like, that's not your problem. So don't date insecure men. But yes, if you do find yourself with an insecure man and you feel the need to do all of that I just explained, you feel the need to do all these jumping jacks and backflips and somersaults in order to validate and affirm him as a means of like trying to make the relationship work, girl, I got some bad news for you. You need to run as fast as you can, because you are not in your power. And because you're not in your power, staying with him will bring you further and further and further away from it, to the point where it seems unattainable. So you need to run away from him and run towards yourself. Why is the camera shaking? That is so irritating. Okay, hopefully that doesn't look bad. Honestly, being overly nice to men has gotten me absolutely nowhere. In fact, I think being overly nice to men puts a huge like stamp on your forehead that says, I'm easily flattered, which means I'm easily manipulated, which means I'm easy to fuck, which means I'm easy. And it's just like, no. And I really want to like address this, because yeah, there have been times where I flashed all 32 teeth just because a man complimented me. And eventually when I find out that he thinks I'm stupid, I leave, because I'm not an idiot. But like, the fact that they even try me like that just irritates my soul. And I need to like switch up my demeanor as far as how I even come across, because men really think they deserve thank yous for holding the door and calling you pretty. I know I'm pretty. You know what I'm saying? And I'll thank a man for holding the door. I will. But like, don't think that your chivalrous gestures don't think that your chivalry and your compliments hold enough value for me to consider giving you some pussy in return. You know what I'm saying? Like, men deserve thank yous for sending money, paying bills, giving gifts, taking you on trips. You know what I'm saying? I know this sounds materialistic. I do. I understand that. But what men have to offer intangibly and what women have to offer intangibly, they don't hold the same value. You know what I'm saying? Like, men's intangible offerings come in the form of words, essentially, and men's intangible offers come in the form of words, and essentially they mean absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? A big part of like running game on women is knowing how to talk a good game. Knowing how to talk a lot and say the right things and like whisper sweet nothings. You know what I'm saying? And literally sweet nothings, because I can't. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what they're hoping is that your self-esteem is so low that a slew of compliments is going to be validating and affirming enough to make you want to give them some pussy. They will sprinkle you with compliments and tell you whatever you want to hear, and then they'll say that they're pouring into you. Pouring into me. Okay, but it's funny because they're not pouring anything. They're actually planting a seed and hoping that fruit comes from it. So and what they plan on doing, they don't plan on growing a garden. They plan on plucking the fruit and going to the next bitch. Okay? So really all of this, I'm pouring into you with compliments. No, you're not. You're trying to take, harness, siphon. That's what men are really good at. Men are so fucking good at finding a weak spot in any woman that they talk to. Well, most women, because as we get smarter, we're not going for it. But like, most women are so flattered by men's compliments and like small gestures. They haven't done anything. A man usually, like, some women will fuck a guy just because he's not rude to her. He hasn't bought her anything. He hasn't sent her no money. He hasn't put her on no type of game to help elevate her career or her life. He hasn't done anything for her except for compliment her and pay for a meal. Ugh. Ugh. And she's gonna sleep with him because he's the ceiling is on the floor. The ceiling is on the floor. He did the bare minimum, which was be nice, not be an asshole. And trust and believe that he is definitely like, he's definitely assessed that you are the type of woman that he can get away with giving the bare minimum to. Because when you go up to when you go to a guy, like, men can tell when women are desperate. They can tell when women, especially when like you're super like transparent about the last few relationships you were in, I've been abused, I've been emotionally neglected, I've been treated like shit, I've been da 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 da, and it's like, oh, this guy's taking notes. He's like, oh, she's been through a lot. Wow, her outlook on men is terrible right now. I can fix it. I can fix it by just not doing those things. I don't have to do anything extra. I just don't have to do those things that she's talking about. And as long as I'm not being an asshole or being abusive or being mean, she's going to suck my dick. So yeah, let me order some Uber Eats and roll up a blunt and invite her over. Yeah, she'll definitely give me some pussy. So that's why it's like it's so important. It is so important to not be so fucking flattered over a man's compliments. Like, even saying thank you to in response to a man calling you beautiful, it's like, duh. I know I'm beautiful. Like, why would I thank you for stating the obvious? I will say thank you when you make my life easier, or you just send a gesture, a tribute, an offering that is significant enough to like positively impact my day, because I already know that I'm beautiful. I don't need you to validate that for me as a means of making my day better. My day was going to be great regardless, in knowing that the face card is never declined. Okay, I don't care what your preferences are. Over here, my self-esteem is absolutely solid. That's why I'm on this camera talking to you, because I know that this video will reach, people will see my face in this video, and whether you think I'm attractive or not, baby, that doesn't matter, because I know that I'm beautiful, period. So I feel like compliments really work for like women who don't have that much self-esteem. Like, and it's really sad, because it'd be some beautiful ass women who are more conventionally attractive than I, who ain't got no motherfucking self-esteem. So I just want to encourage you ladies to be a little bit more strict, a little bit more stoic in your expression when men compliment you. Like, when a man says, "Oh, you're so beautiful, queen," there's no need to thank you. Like, no. At most, I'd smile in return. I'm not saying thank you for when a man calls me beautiful anymore, ever. Unless he's bought me an outfit, paid to have my nails done and my hair done and my makeup done, and he's complimenting what he paid for. Okay, thank you. You know what I'm saying? I will turn into my little marshmallow. Thank you, daddy. Okay. No, for real. Because I'm at the point where my self-esteem is so high that men's compliments mean absolutely nothing to me. They've lost all value, all credibility. You're going to have to come with something a little bit more than that. You're going to have to come harder than that. Come harder than that. You know what I mean? I'm so masculine sometimes. I don't care. Anyways, this podcast is not for niggas. So I probably pissed off a lot of men. Don't show this to the guys. They're going to be so upset with me. and I don't care. But anyways, we're gonna just you don't understand, like, with this Venus retrograde, I am like diving into my purpose. My purpose is to enlighten other women and make them aware to our power. Like, I feel like back in 2020, my objective was to, like, awaken everybody. Everyone needs to wake up. Wake up to the conspiracies that are happening. I guess my energy was put into more of a collective enlightening. And but no, we have some steps to go through first before the collective can be enlightened. We need to get women up to par with our feminine power. We need to make women more aware of how much power we hold. That's my goal. And I am dedicated. I mean, this is my life's work, okay? Because so many women have died due to not knowing their power. Due to, being subjected to abuse and domestic violence and just being a woman and being persecuted for that. Okay, that is who my work is for. My work is for the women who don't have a voice and can't speak up. My work is for women who can't even wear what I got on right now. Okay? And the thing is, I'm not a feminist. So don't call me that. I'm not a feminist. I like to, first of all, I like to emphasize the fact that I'm a womanist, because that's very different from a feminist. Feminism is very, very 8.5 by 11. You know what I'm saying? Very, very. We're not doing that. Sorry, we're not doing that. Okay, like, I believe in equity. I don't think that women and men are equal. I think that I don't want to be equal to men. I want equity. Period. If you're watching YouTube, please leave a comment. I am just cutting up today. Anyway, we are still in the middle of Women's History Month, and I'd like to take a moment to commemorate the Woman of the Week. She is the first Black millionaire, the first Black woman to get to the bag, Madam C.J. Walker. If you didn't know, Madam C.J. Walker was born on December 23rd, 1867, and like a true Sagittarius queen, she blazed her own path towards success by creating her own line of hair care products in response to her own experience with hair loss. So, back in the day when Black people were severely impoverished, and, a lot of families lived without indoor plumbing and just didn't have access to the right foods to gain the proper nutrients in order to maintain a full, healthy head of hair, a lot of women experienced hair loss. I mean, men just shaved their hair anyways, like they went to the barbershop, but women, who wanted to have a full, healthy head of hair just didn't. They had a lot of patches and bald spots, and so they would cover it up with like a head wrap. But back in those days, a head wrap was a symbol of low status and just, being poor. And so because Madam C.J. Walker wanted to distance herself from that whole thing, that whole life, she went and took care of the problem. She was like, hell no, I need to do something about this, right? So she went and created her own line of hair care products. She actually became a cook for some white scientist or chemist named, who cares about his name? She actually became a cook for a white chemist who more than likely showed her like which chemicals that she should mix up in order to treat hair loss and scalp issues. What actually catapulted her into her work was something that was extremely like spiritual and God-led. Okay, so she received a download in her dreams, a message from God literally telling her exactly what she should mix up in her formula. for her hair. And she had to outsource some of the ingredients from Africa, but when she actually like started using it, that shit worked. And when she used it on her friends, that shit worked. So she was like, I'm about to sell this. Fuck you talking about, like, I did it. I made it. So, she decided to sell it. Yeah, she was working for another hair company, but she quit and she formed her own manufacturing company, and her product, called Madam C.J. Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower, actually dropped in 1906. She was accused of like stealing ideas from the hair care company that she used to work for, but it's not about who did it first. It's about who did it better. She emphasized the fact that her products grow hair rather than straightening it. As she held not 1 ounce of shame for black hair. Not one. She was very much into black hair, natural hair texture. And I think it's really important to acknowledge this, especially in these times when a black woman's hair isn't considered done unless the texture has been manipulated, hair extensions have been braided in, or it's been covered by a wig made of somebody else's hair texture. And I'm not judging. This is a safe space where women are encouraged to do whatever they want with their hair, their bodies, etc. But yes, we pay homage to Madam C.J. Walker, especially since I hope to one day be a millionaire myself. I'm going to be a millionaire one day myself. And when I do touch that money, I am going to be so, I'm gonna think like, oh, Madam C.J. Walker would be so proud of me. She'd be so proud of me. You know, because for a black woman to touch that kind of money in the 1800s is a huge deal. Like, the dollar was worth way more than it's worth now. So, like, a millionaire in the 1800s, baby, you on your shit, okay? Shout outs to Madam C.J. Walker. Shout outs to all the women who are working tirelessly on their goals towards becoming self-made. You know, getting out the mud. You don't have to have a huge loan or a lot of support, or you know, you don't have to, not everyone has the ability to benefit from nepotism. Some people really do have to, like, get it out the mud. So shout out to those women who are doing that. And I just think it's really important to give yourself the soft life instead of, like, waiting for a man to give it to you. Like, of course, like, a man having money is absolutely a non-negotiable. Like, it's a non-negotiable, but on your own, you need to make sure you got it. Because that's where your freedom lies as a woman. Is when you can pay for your own shit, sustain your own lifestyle, provide for yourself and your children, and you don't need a man to come in and do those things. So when you are going to look for a suitor, you can really, like, assess whether he's good for you, not your bills and your rent and your debt and all that shit. Like, is he good for you? Because, like, a man could have all the money in the world and be a fucking energetic parasite, draining the life out of you and making your life a living hell, and you have to endure it because you rely on him for everything. Like, no, we're not doing that. Of course, in order for a man to get next to you, he needs to come with some substantial offerings, okay? But, like, depending on a man for a soft life is just not what I'm personally in the business of doing. And I encourage other women to just get out there and get your hustle on. So yes, I really encourage every woman watching to go for gold. You know, you can do whatever you want. Just go for it. Reach for the stars. You can have absolutely everything you desire in this life, especially if you believe in yourself. If you're watching this on YouTube, I ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Liking the video and leaving a comment really helps with engagement, because it does help this video get seen and exposed to other women who may need to hear the messages. So thank you so much for your support, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.